King's Kaleidoscope. Who are they? And their new album, Becoming Who We Are. Should you give it a listen? Well, I hope this helps. King's Kaleidoscope is an indie rock band from the Seattle, Washington area. They've released, I think, 4 albums at this point, 4 EPs. This is their first full-length record. King's Kaleidoscope has like 10 members in it, something like that. They have strings, horns, obviously, you know, the rock standards, drums, electric guitar, bass. They actually have 2 drum sets, believe it or not. But, you know, their Facebook actually says there's no characterizing... Their Facebook says that there is no categorizing of their style. You know what? I'd have to agree. I mean, they touch on indie rock and hip-hop and math rock and pop. And this new record, I mean, they experiment with some sampling, some more electronic-based sounds, some more things you would expect from a DJ. Chad Gardner, their lead singer, he actually used to be a DJ, so I guess it all comes around. There's a really, really great podcast, and I'll link it in the description, that Chad Gardner was interviewed on. I think it's called the Reformed Pubcast. It's an awesome interview about, I mean, just where he got started and King's Kaleidoscope as a whole and his theology and a little bit just about his relationship with Mars Hill and how that's changed. But it's really, really cool to see that, you know, Chad is now bringing his DJ skills, his sampling skills, his electronic, you know, almost playing on the computer type skills into King's Kaleidoscope. So on this first full-length record, if I could sum it up in one word, it would be layered. L-A-Y-E-R-E-D. Layered. It has so many pieces to it. You've got the string sections, you've got horns, guitars, bass, keyboards, synthesizers, sampling, 2 drummers, multiple vocalists. This had to be a nightmare to mix. But frankly, it's actually mixed really, really well. You know, it's actually mixed so well, you need to listen to this album at least once through headphones. I gotta say too, the flow of this album, you know, from front to back is super smooth. Looking at the tracks and knowing that, well, you pulled a few of them from Live in Color and re-recorded them. You pulled a few of them, or one of them, from Aesop's Arrows. You redid How Deep the Father's Love for Us, which you did on Sin. Even though they've pulled all these pieces together, you don't usually feel like these pieces are conflicting with each other. In fact, they gel together really well. And that's probably because of these little short snippet, more electronic-based tracks that they did. I think those tracks just serve the rest of the album. They serve the rest of the tracks, the more substantial songs, in just kind of moving it along, moving the listener from one to the other in a more smooth, natural transition. I gotta say, as far as the track listing, I really don't even know why they redid songs on this album. That's one thing that does bug me about this record. You've already recorded All Creatures on Aesop's Arrows. I don't see a reason to redo it. It was perfectly fine where it was. Seek Your Kingdom, Fix My Eyes, Defender, Felix Culpa. And they pulled a lot from Live in Color. I think I read somewhere that it was almost like that was meant to be the case, that Live in Color was almost a sampler of this up-and-coming album. They're recorded wonderfully. They're great nonetheless. It's just my opinion. Oh, if you're a drummer, you have to listen to this album. You need to listen to this record. The polyrhythms, the complex beats, the grooves. I play drums myself, and I found some of the phrases they were pulling off just so absurdly incredible. I was laughing out loud. If you watch Live in Color, you'll see that there's 2 drummers, and you know, one of them is playing the more substantial, the thicker parts of the grooves, and the other guy's more of a percussionist and adding all these little pieces. But oh man, when you combine those together, they pull off these rhythms that just sound so unbelievably unattainable. Well, they are unattainable by a single drummer. These dudes are talented. And on the topic of Becoming Who We Are, the title, I guess I'm not really sure what it's about, whether it's about you know, our future eternity, the kingdom of God, heaven, those kind of things, because I mean that would make sense with the title, and a lot of the tracks actually talk about those kind of things. But it might even be about, King's Kaleidoscope just fully realizing their sound, fully realizing that they don't have to fit a worship band or a secular band model. They can just do what they want to do. They can write songs that sound how they want them to sound, and yet have lyrics and are written in a way that can encourage the church, and that the church can sing themselves, whether they try to pull it off by playing it at their church or just worshiping on their own. Overall, I would put this album in between great and excellent. This album was very, very good. Probably King's Kaleidoscope's strongest album yet. Their best sounding record, their most polished. It's not my favorite album of all time, but it's a fantastic album. If you're a fan of King's Kaleidoscope, I guarantee you'll find interest in this record. Other than the length being a little bit long, this record is great from start to finish. Anyway, I hope this helped. See ya.